1989, President George H.W. Bush addressed the nation from the Oval Office, his first such address.
This is crack cocaine, seized a few days ago by drug enforcement agents in a park just across the street from the White House. It could easily have been heroin or PCP. It's as innocent looking as candy, but it's turning our cities into battle zones, and it's murdering our children. Let there be no mistake. This stuff is poison.
Now, of course, that drug buy in the park near the White House was staged just for this purpose, but that's neither here nor there. In this address, President Bush laid out his plan to fight crack, the war on drugs, and he placed the blame first and foremost on drug users.
Our most serious problem today is cocaine, and in particular, crack. Who's responsible? Let me tell you straight out. Everyone who uses drugs, everyone who sells drugs, and everyone who looks the other way.
Contrast that message with how today's presidential contenders, Republican presidential contenders, describe drug users.
There but for the grace of God go I. It can happen to anyone. And so we need to start treating people in this country, not jailing them. We need to give them the tools they need to recover, because every life is precious. Every life is an individual gift from God. And we have to stop judging and start giving them the tools they need to get better.
So what in the world has changed? I mean, that is very different discourse across that time.
Well, I think it's the story of how people are using heroin today. You know, there is general consensus that because the users are white, the response is more humane. And it follows a pattern of responding to crime problems in the U.S. overall. When the users or the people assumed to be committing the crime are black or people of color, there's a tendency to demonize and dehumanize. When the users or people perpetuating the crime tend to be white, there is a tendency to be more curious. And compare the current response to the to the heroin epidemic to how we responded to crack in the 80s, but you can even go back farther to how marijuana was responded to in the 1930s, and the law enforcement response when it was assumed that marijuana use was in the racy part of towns, as opposed to in the 1960s when there was a more curious response when white college students were using it in their dorm rooms.